Hey guys, how you doing? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all those around the world. Welcome back to the Pokemon Unite video. We're finally going to sit down and break apart this tier list for Season 2 and see where everybody stands and what's useful to climb in all these ranks. Let's get it. Go ahead and start off putting Zeraora in the S rank tier, just because this Pokemon brings a lot to the table in terms of damage, CC, crowd control. He's got it all. And trust me, he's not very difficult to play. Essentially, he is a low risk, high reward Pokemon. But at the end of the day, some people will disagree with that, but I don't think no one can disagree with the fact that this Pokemon is still very strong right now. And in terms of support, best support in the game when it comes to Eldegoss, she brings everything to the table. She got shields, she has DPS, not necessarily a lot of damage, but you know, she has that little bit of annoying poke. She got slow, she has a movement speed buff, she's got barriers. She's very, very good. Let's put it like that. Best support right now, hands down. And Blissey is going to probably sit right here for a lot of people, I think, in the A rank, but I'm going to put her down in the B rank personally because I think a good Blissey player can be here, but the average Blissey player is probably here, to be fair. And the reason why I say that is, let's be honest, every Blissey player that you probably played with, 9 out of 10, they're not very great, but sometimes you get that one who's phenomenal, right? And what I mean by not very good is the fact that most of the time, they'll try to play as a ranged support healer instead of being up in the front line taking damage with your squad, you know what I mean? I think that's the difference to me personally between a very good Blissey player and someone who's still learning the Pokemon. I don't think the Pokemon's very hard to understand, but at the same time, you ain't nothing but a giant face that runs around and throws eggs at people. Get your butt up here in melee range and slap people for me and take some damage. That's not that difficult. Why are you way back here? You know what I mean? That's just how I feel. If you want to play a ranged support Pokemon, you play Eldegoss. You know, that's just me. But at the end of the day, everyone has their own opinions. And some of you guys ain't gonna agree with none of these, but it's okay. Gardevoir C rank. Machamp C rank. Absol D rank. Whoa, right? Absol D rank. Absol's not very great, let's be honest. He's phenomenal in low ranks. Like, this Pokemon can get out of control very, very quickly. But let's say in a 5v5 situation where you're playing in a squad versus squad, or a pre-made, what have you, this Pokemon's not very good. Just because the nature of this guy's kit, it's very situational, it's very positional. So we're just sitting here inside of a Zapdos pit, and you're sitting here trying to do damage. It's very hard, especially when everyone sees where you're at, sees where you're coming. You can't really get around these targets without being crowd controlled or burst it down. It takes a lot of damage just because he's very squishy. He doesn't have any survivability whatsoever to his kit, unless you count his Unite move. But other than that, I think he's very, very good in his solo queue mindset. Like if you're playing by yourself and you're trying to rank up, sure. But in the higher ranks, I think this Pokemon is far in between. It's like a 9 out of 10, he's very good or very, very bad. And I know y'all are out there, and there's absolute mains out there who would disagree with me, think this Pokemon's phenomenal, but he does have a lot of weaknesses. And this is just my personal opinion when it comes to Absol. I think he's not very great. And I mean, but again, to argue to put Garchomp ahead of him, I think Garchomp is actually really, really good. I think his kit is actually really, really good. But what I think they need to do with this Pokemon to actually make him relevant in this game is just nerf down his levels. Meaning, let him and Gardevoir level up, get to their evolutions quicker. That's all they have to do with these Pokemon. He has insane damage, as long as he can touch a target, right? But if he can't, he just can't. And then he is bad, essentially, right? He's not very good if he can't stick on a target. But at the end of the day, when they sit here and they actually buff the right thing on Garchomp, he's going to be fantastic, and everyone else is going to agree to this at this point in time. When they actually do something and fix this Pokemon, he's going to be so overpowered they're going to have to under-tune him again. But for right now, I think, personally, he's going to have to sit in C rank for me. So I think he has a lot going on for his kit. He's got gap closers, he has disengages, and inside these pits when you're fighting Zapdos and stuff, everyone's all like over the screen, right? I mean, at the end of the day, he's going to be able to smack a couple people. When he does do damage. He does do a lot of damage. He's got survivability when it comes to his passive. I think the Pokemon's actually pretty good. But at the same time, to get to level 9, to get to viable status, it takes a lot more than you'd think. And in terms of Gardevoir, sadly enough, I want to put her here. And this is where she's going to be for me. But 9 out of 10 in the average player's hands, she's going to sit here. But for those of you that are really good with Gardevoir, and I know y'all are out there, because I'm a big fan of her, she's going to sit in average for me, and B rank for me. And just because her damage output, her late game potential, scales really, really well, especially if you have a good early game. If you have a really good early game with Gardevoir, you can dominate the game by yourself, just because in the amount of damage that you bring, the crowd control you bring, your Unite move, your stuns, this Pokemon's phenomenal, as long as you get past the early game. And that's the hardest part to do with Gardevoir. Venusaur for me, this hits S rank for a lot of people, but for me, it's just A rank, because I don't think this Pokemon's busted. I really don't. He did get nerfed. He's in an okay spot right now. He's not as where he was before. Like, was it like 2 patches ago? He was probably like here for most people. For me, he's always been an A rank Pokemon. Now, when you run in there with Petal Dance, 9 out of 10 you're just going to get melted and die, right? Because everybody always just runs, damage items. But if you're running tanky items on Venusaur, you're going to sit there and you're going to mow down Pokemon. No problem. Even in a solo queue game, even in a squad setting, this Pokemon does a lot of damage, especially with the right support on Venusaur or the right item build on Venusaur. He does it really, really well. But in a solo queue mindset, again, it's really hard to be an S tier in a solo queue game, because you know what you're going to do as a player when you run it in. You're trying to do damage, but is your team always going to back you up? Not really. Sometimes you just might run in there with Petal Dance and just get killed instantly because your team is off doing something else. So that's what you kind of got to think about. Now, Gengar, for me, he's S rank. Everybody else, average. It's going to be an A. Just because he has a lot of damage. He does. A huge burst window. He has a lot of burst damage. But the fact is, he's very squishy. If they touch this Pokemon in defense, special defense, and HP, I think he'll be an S rank Pokemon, no problem. And the best part about that is his Shadow Ball Dream Eater combination. You can 1-2 shot pretty much everybody in the game right now at late game. No problem. As long as you can land the ability, you do the damage. And that's the reward when it comes to Gengar. He feels really good when he gets a kill. He really does. But at the same time, you can jump on there on the target when you activate Hex, and you can maybe get off 2 hexes before they kill you, and or Buddy Barrier kill you, or stun you or kill you. It sucks, because your survivability is very lackluster. But as long as they buff that here soon, this Pokemon's going to be phenomenal. And to me, he still is phenomenal. He just has a little bit of, defects. Each their own. Lucario, S rank. We don't need to talk about Lucario. We know where he's at. Snorlax, for me, S rank. For a lot of people, S rank. Cinderace, still up here. And then you have your boy Machamp, down here in the C tier, sadly enough. Talonflame is in the A tier. I know. I'm biased when it comes to Talonflame. I think this Pokemon is still really, really strong, considering he's gotten buffed. And everybody and your grandma still plays Talonflame. I know you're tired of seeing him. I'm tired of seeing him too. I really am. But the Pokemon brings a lot to your team composition, a lot to the table in terms of his damage, his Brave Bird, his Fly, steals objectives all the time. His Unite moves up pretty much like 24/7. If he just uses a Unite move and he kills you with it, trust me, he probably has it again. Just think like that. But I think Talonflame is actually really, really good right now. And in terms of junglers, he's still really up there. He's not better than Zeraora. He's not going to be better than Cinderace. But in the long term, in the jungle, this Pokemon is still very good. Will carry you up to Master's rank and still in Master's rank. He's very, very strong right now in this game. Greedent finally got nerfed. I'm going to put him down to A rank right now, and we'll see where he goes. His nerfs have been justified. I think he actually needed pretty much everything he's gotten. A lot of Greedent mains out there, or people that enjoy this Pokemon, might disagree, but I think this Pokemon is actually very, very good now, opposed to what he was before. He's not, oh my god, that hurt. Whereas a defender Pokemon can walk up to you, hit one of his R buttons, you know what I mean, his first abilities, and 1200 DPSU was not cool as a defender. But yeah, they want to nerf Blastoise Unite move because it did too much damage. But it's Unite move. That makes sense to me. But I don't know, man. I think Greedent actually sits right where he needs to be right now. But we'll see what happens with these nerfs. Blastoise? I think Blastoise personally is an S-rank Pokemon still. That's just me. I think it brings a lot to the table in forms of crowd control, in forms of can't be crowd control, tankiness, bulkiness, Unite move, can steal objectives. I think he's really, really good right now. Mr. Mime is going to sit for A rank for me, just because there's a lot of Mr. Mime players out there who aren't very good. But those of you that are very good, and you know who you are, you could argue that the good Mr. Mime players are very far in between, right? But the ones that are really good are very, very good at Mr. Mime. With his barriers, his confusion, his psychic, and his links, I think this Pokemon is actually very, very strong right now in the metagame. His Unite move is also very, very popular. It's very, very good. Sadly enough, Crustle is going to sit right down here D rank with me, with Absol. I don't think this Pokemon brings much to the table. You can argue if you want to, that's fine, this is my opinion. I don't think he's very, very good. In terms of damage, sure. But as a tank, no. He doesn't do anything. He really doesn't. He has a knockback. Cool. Blastoise has a knockback and everything else. Why not just play Blastoise? You know what I mean? To me, he kind of reminds me of Greedent, just like not as good as Greedent. But each their own. Pikachu's going to sit down in the B rank for me. Same with Ninetales. Ninetales is getting buffed, so she may move up here for a lot of people, but we'll see. When it comes to her crowd control, everybody essentially can be, what do you call that word? Cannot be CC'd. You know what I'm talking about. When Machamp is running at you with submission, or Blastoise activates his Unite move, Cinderange does his, they can't be crowd controlled right away, right? And a lot of Pokemon can't be crowd controlled when they activate your Unite moves or they activate certain abilities. And Ninetales' whole thing is crowd control. It's very, very hard to dictate where she's going to fall, especially because she hasn't been buffed and or nerfed in a very long time. She got her first buff today in terms of damage, but I still think she's going to be a B rank Pokemon, because if you want to be a special attacker, why not play Gardevoir and do a lot more damage than her? Why not play Gengar? There's other Pokemon who can outshine her in terms of DPS in this game right now, but in forms of crowd control, no one outshines her in crowd control. But yet again, she can't really crowd control everybody. It's weird on how they made this Pokemon. I don't know what their deal is or what they're going to do with her, but right now I think she sits right here until we can see and playtest more her Blizzard damage now. Charizard's going to sit right here for me in the B tier. In a very good player's hands, he will sit right here in A rank. In a Masters player's hands, he can go straight up to S rank. Personally, I think this Pokemon can shut down any carry in the entire game. Any of them. And in a very good player's hands, I think Charizard gets overlooked by a lot of people and they don't realize how much damage this Pokemon can actually do or actually sit here and take out of the game. If you want to kill Zeraora, you want to kill Lucario, he's got it. Every ability in his kit can do that. And I think, like I said, in the right player's hands, who's very good with this Pokemon, you could argue he has some weaknesses. Who doesn't? But once this Pokemon gets rolling, he's very, very strong. But I don't know what everyone else is going to say about it. You know what I mean? That's why I said this is my opinion. I think, like I said, in the right player's hands, he can be an S-rank Pokemon. That's just me. Sylveon, it's going to be an S-rank. I think she has a lot right now when it comes to terms of DPS and damage, mobility, gap closes. She has everything in her kit. She has sustain, but her Hyper Voice really stops her from being in a god tier for me, especially considering they nerfed it. I'm going to have to put her in the A rank. Now, if she was able to cancel Hyper Voice after the Pokemon moved out of the way or changed direction or what have you, or change direction with the ability, I think she can be up here. But for right now, I think she's going to be an A rank Pokemon. Because I know you guys have played with Sylveon players, EV players who just get in here, get in your games, and they just don't seem to do very well. I think she has a higher skill cap than most people realize. And I know that sounds strange because her kit seems a little bit straightforward, right? But it's either you jump in there with Mystic Fire and you weave in your auto attacks, or you play Hyper Voice and you're supposed to kite with it, but instead people like to get on top of you and deal less damage. You do further damage with Hyper Voice to further you away from the Pokemon. I don't think a lot of people realize this right now. But hey, I guess we'll see. Time will tell. In any case, we're touching on Greninja. Greninja's S rank for me, and I think he's S rank for a lot of people. Once this Pokemon gets rolling with Red Buff, gets a couple kills early game, he snowballs. This Pokemon can snowball games so fast, it's not even funny. And in terms of DPS with Water Shuriken and or Surf, in the right player's hands, this Pokemon could be busted, right? In that sense. And don't get me wrong, I know you guys see it all the time. Once a Greninja gets rolling in your games, most of the time you lose. Let's be fair. Slowbro, I miss you, man. I really do. I think he's going to be a C rank for me. I don't think he's D rank just because I think he's more viable than Absol and whatever this Pokemon's called. I forgot off the top of my head. Crustle. Now, in terms of Slowbro, I think his Surf ability brings a lot to the table in terms of knockups. But his Unite move is really where he shines, because considering he can stop every Pokemon who has Unstoppable, or he can shut down any Pokemon in the game, like Zeraora, for example, when he jumps in. As long as your team focuses down that Pokemon, you guys can go ahead and wipe out their carry. And I think Slowbro does a good job of that. But in terms of anything else to the table, you can't just be an S-rank Pokemon, right? And the only thing good about you is your Unite move. That doesn't necessarily put you in S-rank, for example, or the best Pokemon in the game. You know what I mean? His other abilities are kind of lackluster, besides Surf. but that's just it. That's the only thing he brings to the table is Surf and his Unite move, and that's if you land the Unite move. That's the issue. Cramorant, it's gonna be a B rank for me. Same thing with Ninetales and Pikachu, what have you. I think he's very, very good, but on the right player's hands, he can be up here. But 9 out of 10, you don't really see Cramorant anyway. I don't know because Pokemon's not very popular. People don't find him very, very good, but I think his Unite move keeps him where he is, let alone his crowd control form of abilities. I think it puts him right in the B rank, and that's just me. And you have Wigglytuff, needs no introduction. We don't need to talk about it. Mamoswine is also C rank for me. I think this Pokemon is very, very awkward through every evolution besides its first stage. Like his abilities seem to get very, very clunky. But hey man, this is my personal opinion. Hopefully you guys do enjoy this or can agree on some of these things. If not, hit me up in the comments, let's talk about it. Join the Discord, let's talk about it. But this is my new tier list for Season 2. Let me know if your guys change or differs or what have you. Smash that like button, join that Discord. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. I'm gonna head out. Now let's go ahead and mix up this tier list right quick, because like I said, Machamp is like most broken Pokemon in this entire game. You have Venusaur is like the most useless Pokemon right now. Like those nerfs have brought him all the way down to here. There's a lot of stuff going on here. You got Gardevoir being the best Pokemon right now. He's so strong, the best Pokemon to carry with. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. You got Greedent. Since he got nerfed, he's all the way down in the useless tier right now. Same thing with Zeraora, not very good anymore. There's a lot of stuff changing right now with this new patch and update. But hey man, catch you guys in the next one. Hope you guys enjoy.